Hello, I'm Alan Proithis, CEO of Capstone Partners, where we accelerate connected business. And today I'm very pleased to have with us Daniel Quant, the Vice President of Strategic Development from MultiTech. Dan, welcome.
Hey, nice to be here and great to be part of the Things Conference again. MultiTech, I think, has been active and a sponsor in every Things Conference over the years.
Well, MultiTech, frankly, has been, I think, a prime mover since the early days of LoRa technology. So it makes perfect sense that you're always a constant presence here, and I think you've done a lot to advance technology in the industry. So welcome. So we have to start out, of course, by asking Vice President of Strategic Development. Tell me about that role. What exactly is your role at MultiTech?
Yeah, so it's got a few caps on there, but it's really about identifying market trends, Alan. It's about incubating and innovating new technology first. And we have a rich history of that at MultiTech. As you highlighted, we developed the world's first industrial LoRaWAN gateway. And the Things Network, that was the first gateway that they placed an order for. So we have that rich history, and so what I'm trying to do here is to work with different customers, industry alliances, key verticals, to be able to bring value through to those customers as they continue to transform their businesses.
I think it's such a critical role, that combination of strategic thinking, but product marketing, and yet thinking about in terms of customer solutions. That's really the only way we get the things in the market as an industry that customers actually will use to solve, real problems. And I think part of that great heritage of MultiTech is actually behind some of the interesting news that came out, I think, about 2 or 3 months ago about MultiTech really combining with a sensor company called Smartwave as part of a private equity investment by Northland Capital Partners. So really big news, and of course it comes, wasn't it the MultiTech's 50th anniversary celebration as well in 2020?
Well, it's exciting times for sure. So yeah, 50 years in the business now, and that journey takes another turn in the road there. So you're right, Northland Capital through Smartwave Technologies acquired MultiTech back in November. So yeah, it's been a couple of months now. And yeah, this has just been great. It's about trying to grow the size of the market, Alan. It's about trying to continue the work that we had been doing with industrial IoT and smart assets, localization, and really bringing more durables and industrial consumables into the mix. And that's kind of the part of the background of Smartwave. Their background is really electromagnetic design, ASIC designs, doing authentication techniques, so if we're working with maybe a chemical company, only that company's chemical can come through those solutions. They can't be butted out of that supply chain of durables or in this case, chemicals. So the two sides of the business really fit like a glove. What we're doing in MultiTech or the older MultiTech was very communication based. Now, together, we're really able to go to the OEMs, the customers that we've been working with for many years, and be able to provide them a very deep integration into their products and solutions, all the way through to components. So it's really exciting times to grow this business and push things to the next level.
Yeah, in some ways, from my perspective, it's great evidence of IoT maturing more now, in that you have this incredible sensor business, but really you get so much more value for the customer by connecting everything up. And facilities management, to me, is really one of the key LoRa use cases. I mean, there's really no better technology to get coverage where you want it, that's affordable, that lasts a long time, all those characteristics we like about sort of the LPWAN space. So the combination makes a lot of sense to me. When we think about, though, putting coverage where you want it, I think one of the biggest trends of the past year is really the launch of a lot of these private enterprise 5G networks. And I'd love to hear your opinion, because I know as part of what MultiTech does, you also are involved in enabling some of those private 5G networks, as well as being a leader on the LoRa side. So what are your thoughts about how all that sort of interacts and lives together?
Yeah, so enterprises have a rich background in deploying their own private wireless networks. Some industries, like utilities and energy companies and mining, transportation, they've been doing this for decades, right? But it tends to be very proprietary technologies that really solve a very specific problem, but find it difficult to scale outside of that particular use case. And Wi-Fi is a great example. Most every enterprise has its own private Wi-Fi network. And in a sense, we've now gone beyond just what Wi-Fi can connect. We need networks now that can be managed by IT, that are converged, that can do everything. They can do everything from broadband, low latency, mission critical connectivity, through to worker productivity, and ultimately into a large deployment of sensors and devices, many of which live in awkward to find places on batteries for years. Mm-hmm. And to expect one technology to do all of that, I mean, this isn't a ring to rule them all or a winner takes all. Mm-hmm. This is going to take a number of different wireless technologies. And what we're starting to see in our business is a number of technologies are now becoming the mainstay technology. And one way that we're seeing this play out is that enterprises are deploying private 4G and 5G wireless networks. This is providing foundational coverage over a campus, a facility, an oil field, oil rig, substation, or something similar. And we're starting to see that they're leveraging Wi-Fi. After all, it's great for worker productivity use cases. And they're obviously connecting up those broadband mission critical applications over that 5G network. And Wi-Fi is backhauling also into that 5G network. But what we're also starting to see is that LoRa is now becoming a mainstay for the enterprise, particularly when we look at this more massive IoT section. And ironically, 5G isn't so well placed to go after that massive IoT business. After all, they've focused everything on broadband and low latency and mission critical connectivity. I mean, the modems that we buy for 5G are literally 10 times more expensive, if not 25 times more expensive than a typical LoRa module or endpoint. So those cost differentials aren't coming down anytime soon. So in a nutshell, we see the enterprise having this real pent-up need now to be able to connect and digitize most every aspect of their business, and they're doing it with LoRa in the sensor and constrained device section of their business.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. Because I've even seen too, you get the private cellular network in place for the backhaul for the LoRa network, and they coexist, each doing what they do best. Because the battery is such a big part of the device expense if you need it to last a long time with non-LPWAN technologies. And then we're getting a little bit close in our time, but I have to ask you about, what did you see just really quickly last year in terms of the impact of the whole economic situation related to the virus and IoT deployments?
Yeah, well, it was definitely a market where some moved, at breakneck speeds. I make this analogy of being pushed out of the plane. It's like I went up to do a parachute jump for the first time. I'm looking out of the door and I'm like, whoa, that's high. And then boom, I get the push behind me, right? And in a sense, that push happened in quite a few different opportunities and markets that we're working with. One of our customers said to us, we just need to remotely monitor everything now. We need to digitize every part of our asset, because if I need to send somebody there to be able to look at something or listen to something, then I can automate that. I can put that on a LoRaWAN sensor, and I can automate that back into a digital twin or a business process that I've set up. I only need to send people there when I need hands to fix something. And wise words, we saw that in a number of industrial industries where they're literally locked out of their business unless it's an emergency. So never has there been a more acute time to remotely monitor assets.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And I think we're seeing that across a number of different verticals. So Dan, thank you again. Dan Quant, VP of Strategic Development at MultiTech. Thank you again for helping us start the year right with your perspective here.
Yeah, and looking forward to a year long of the Things Conference. So many thanks, Alan.
Thanks, bye-bye.